because we heard about the capacity building, the partnerships, the applied research. I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to try to go back to the audience a bit now. You've been listening very patiently for an hour. So we want to give an opportunity for you to interact. And we're not going to follow one of those processes where one person asks a long question. We're going to have you all talk to each other for a few minutes. And people who've been in workshops with me know exactly what these look like. So what we're going to do is John posed some questions. We're going to have you talk to each other for 5 minutes. Yeah? So you're going to look around for people around you, forming in groups of 3 or 4 people. Yeah? And there's a couple of things I want you to do. The speakers will do the same up here. They will be a group. One thing is, what's the burning question that was not answered from the presentations? Or what burning question did they stimulate from you? Yeah? So you have to talk to each other. What's the burning question? Secondly, how important is this concern for food safety in relation to this bigger food and nutrition security agenda? John was saying, we see this as a big, important part. Is it? Do you see it? Several people have said it concerns all of us. So even if you aren't an expert, you will probably have a view on food safety. And the third one is really, what are those priorities in terms of research? What types of research do you think we need? What partners should be doing that research? So it's 3 simple questions in 5 minutes. Yeah? Maybe I give you 8 or 9 minutes. So you have to talk to each other, and then we will come around with the microphone, and you will share back to the panel here what you talked about. Yeah? If you're standing at the back, there are some seats in the middle. So please come and sit down. Don't stand at the back. Yeah? So it should be very noisy for 5 minutes. So talk to each other. Research priorities. How important is food safety? What is a burning question that you have? Go. So we have 2 assistants, Eric and who is your colleague? Tom. Okay. So what we're going to do, Rand, I asked you to, if you have a burning question for the speakers, can you, in your group, did anybody have burning questions? Can you put your hands up if you had a burning question that must be answered? 1, 2, I thought 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's going to be it. 5. We're going to collect short, so have your answers nice and short. And John's going to write them down, since he's the director of the program, because he has to answer. So Eric and Tom, can you go to those 5 or 6 people? Just collect the quick questions, only collecting. After this, we'll come back with the other questions. Yeah, so let's go. I think there was one here. Can you just say who you are and give us your quick question? A short question, please. Not too complicated.
I'm Malaku from this team. I'm working for the World Bank on Safety Net program.
Can you hear all right?
Well, one critical in terms of the burning issue we have, actually, as we discussed, really, we know the level of awareness at different levels. From the policymakers to grassroots level, including the private sectors, the different actors, even level of awareness within the research institutes. That's one.
You're allowed one question. Okay, level of awareness is not enough, in summary, right. So what do we do about it? Okay, question over there, and you're next.
I'm Dino Keating from the World Vegetable Center. Nothing was said about the farmers who overspray. I believe that we don't have good answers of why they spray so much, and we certainly don't have good answers on what effect that has on their health. And I believe that to be actually probably more positive in terms of danger than many of the other things that were spoken about today.
Okay, thank you. There's a question over here.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Bernard from ILRI. The question we had was, how do we preach or how do we achieve a balance between food access and food safety?
The balance between food access and food safety. Yeah, okay. There was a question, a couple over here, I think, and then, yeah, we've had 3, so I think there's at least 3 more. So probably a couple of Toms.
Yes, our group had the question is, if good practices are known, when and why would good behavior break down? And it's sort of is it an informational issue or is it an incentive issue? Especially if we want to include smallholders in the conversation going forward, how do we ensure their good behavior through both knowledge and cooperative behavior?
So that science of behavior that Idilia referred to, there was a question there, I think. And there's a couple over here. Yeah, let's do that one and then 2 more here.
Albert Engel, GSZ. Our discussion focused very much on a key statement, and that was made by Delia in the beginning. It was, we need to move from a pathogen focus to a risk-based focus. Sounds logical, sounds simple, but we felt it is very difficult to really get to that. Hung pointed out, politicians look at what causes public attention. We would add scientists, look at what are their expertise, where do they get money for, what is the mandate of their institution. So moving towards such a truly risk-based approach, how can that be done? And if we have answers to that, I think it will also answer many of the questions that John raised in what should be the research focus. So, and what could be the operational frame for moving to such a risk-based approach?
Okay, thank you. I think we had two questions over here, yes? One there?
Good morning, Thomas Dubois. Our burning question is, who will pay for this? Because you are basically creating products that are more expensive, and if there is no demand for it from consumers because they are not aware of the food safety issues, there is no incentivization for farmers to actually make food safe.
Okay, and I think there was a question in the middle here. Now, all of the questioners have been gentlemen, so I'm looking a chance for one or two ladies to ask a question. Please,
in our
after
group, I'm
this.
François Gassengaire. In our group, we felt that we didn't hear a lot or enough about the cultural factors in relation to food safety, because we believe that food safety are very contextualized. We didn't hear enough about systems approach and integrated approach, because we are dealing with different products, several products, and all. How do we integrate that?
Okay, good, thank you. So, is there one more burning question anywhere? There's one at the back. Oh, and it's from a lady by chance. Very good, thank you.
This is my group is around me. So actually, there was a consensus in the group that food safety is really very important, but it has to be differentiated across groups, across sectors. There was a differentiation. It has to be differentiated between those who are subsistence farmers, poor, and between the rich. And in terms of research, there should be research from the supply side and also research from the demand side. In the supply side, it's primarily determining the technologies that would help small producers primarily come up with production practices that would fit food safety standards. And on the research side, it should be on how to make awareness and information more accessible and more available, especially for the subsistence consumers.
Thank you. So I think there was less of a question there, but you were answering some of the other questions I asked. So that's very good. Now, John, did you want to already try to tackle some of these questions, or do you want to hear some other feedback first?
No, I think we captured the
question. Yes? Oh, another question, a burning question, yes?
Can you guys hear? Okay, so we also had a consensus that it was very important. The food safety is a very important question and an issue to look at. And based on a lot of what I heard and the questions that came up, we also heard that the issue of who's going to pay for it, the consumers are poor, and how do we get the money into it was an issue. So we thought maybe how about prioritizing within countries, within the continent, and to help that prioritizing as well as to make the governments allocate money and then to bring in other partners to allocate money to it. Perhaps it would be helpful to do the kind of research that shows the benefits from having safer food, so that the burden of the food doesn't necessarily go to the consumer, but there's willingness from deeper pockets to invest in it. Maybe the question or a comment or whatever. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. So I take a few more, because we also asked you to think about what are the top priorities for this work, research in this area. We could hear a few more of those, John, and then you do a synthesis of the whole 1.5 hours? Okay, so let's hear. We also asked you, so those of you who are burning questions, John has written them down. He will, in his summary, I think, try to tackle them.
They're also recorded as well.
They're also
so
recorded. Yeah? We put up the email addresses here of John and Delia, so if you don't have, if you want to follow up, you haven't had a chance, you can do that. So I also asked you, so we've heard somebody about how important food safety is, but let's look at this research priorities. Did any of the groups talk about what are the top research priorities? You did? Yes, you did. Anybody else? We have a couple of you. Can we bring the microphones again, please? Tom, you have it already, do you? Tom, there's a mic over here. We want to hear from you, and over here as well, yes, and here. We want to hear, what do you think the top research priorities should be? Please.
Thank you very much.
Can you say your name, please?
Sorry. I'm P.K. Joshi from International Food Policy Research Institute. I'm based in South Asia office in New Delhi. I think many sector-wise studies are needed. We have studies which are very scattered right now. We have some.
Just put it closer to you, or keep it closer.
We do not have studies, very systematic studies. There are very scattered studies, and we are trying to generalize from those studies. I think we need to very systematic studies on sector level, like fruits and vegetables, meat, cereals. This is one. And as per the income levels, low income, middle income, or high income, and holding wise, small, medium, and large. Now, what are the research questions? One is, what are the causes of producing unsafe food? What are the causes, like pesticide residue? At different levels, at producers level, at traders level, at retailers level. This is one research question which we need to do systematically. Second, I can discuss more in detail with John later on. Second is, what are the causes of consuming unsafe food? Why people are consuming unsafe food? Awareness or lack of resources. Water is not available. I am aware that I have to wash my hands, but water is not available. So, what are the causes? Third is, there are regulatory frameworks. What are the causes of non-implementation of regulatory frameworks? Are they very rigid or they are not transparent? So what are the causes for that? Fourth is, what are the interventions available already at different levels, producers level as well as consumers levels? And fifth is, how we can implement these interventions for safe food. So these are the five questions I am listing. And here, what will be the role of policies and institutions, role of private sector, and the public sector? Thank you.
Well, I'm impressed by the amount, a whole research agenda in 5 minutes. Good. 5 minutes, 5 questions. That was good. Let's come over here. We had a lady here, please. And we'll go around the same, please. Tell us what you want to see happen.
My name is Bwana from Kenya, Ministry of Agriculture. We had one question. We thought of how the effective approaches to scale up the research findings.
Scaling up the research findings.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an important research question. Okay, thank you. I think we had a lady behind here. Yes?
Good morning. My name is Robin from the University of...
Can you keep the microphone
sorry.
closer? Yeah.
Laryngitis. I'm Robin from the University of Sydney, and I'm just going to say that I'm very interested in multi-sectoral work, and I worry that maybe we don't have enough social scientists, anthropologists, sociologists with us, but they are not my key research points that I wanted to make right now. We'd discuss one of the things about allowing farmers to make decisions is where aflatoxins are concerned, is that most national governments and the farmers are unaware of rapid tests for aflatoxins. You can't open a discussion with them if you can't demonstrate. So having validated and accredited and registered tests that can be used in countries is critical. On the human side, when I made inquiries recently for testing serum, I was told to allow $100 per sample. We desperately need more labs that can do this test and cheaper tests, because I think we need to do retrospective surveys, because I can't believe that we've always had these levels. And if we haven't always had these levels, what's changed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.